Here to share information with you today on the benefits and dangers of internal exams or vaginal exams. So, we start out with a new mom. She's reached 38 weeks and she's going weekly to her provider. What does that appointment look like? She goes in, she pees in a cup, she gets a blood pressure reading, they measure fundal height, they check to see how far dilated she is. You have to know how far dilated you are to know if you're going to go into labor in any second, right? Well, using how dilated and effaced you are to determine when you will go into labor is like standing on your front porch right this moment and you looking at the sky and using solely that information to determine what the temperature to the exact degree will be the same hour and day next week. It is impossible. There is too much information missing. Labor is triggered when those little lungs secrete a chemical telling your body to get the party started. Some women walk around at a 3 for 2 months. Some are locked up tighter than Fort Knox and have their baby in less than 24 hours. That being said, what are some reasons to decline the routine vaginal exams? Well, for one, they introduce germs. Your body works to flush out germs, and having a vaginal exam pushes germs further up into the vagina. During labor, an exam can actually slow your process in a number of ways. Internal exams can create anxiety as the mother is laying there to hear the news that she hasn't progressed as far as she had hoped or was told that she needed to progress. Kind of like a balloon, her spirit just deflates. She begins to fear that her body is broken and unable to do this thing that it needs to do. Stress tells her body that it's not safe to labor there and slows labor and its biological reaction. We see this in horses and dogs and cats, and humans really, in all honesty, are not that different from any other mammal in that respect. Another way it slows labor is because the surface of the sphincter muscle. When you touch a sphincter, it clenches up. This is not exactly what you want when you're going through labor. And again, it's that biological reaction. Something's going on that isn't normal, that it tells us body isn't safe to labor here. Let's stop the process and get mom somewhere safe. Also, when you touch a cervix, it irritates it, and that can drastically actually increase your pain level if you were submitting to these frequent exams. Vaginal exams can also put mom on the clock, which will increase her chance of a C-section for failure to progress. And again, not every provider is induction happy or augmentation happy, but there are a few providers out there that really want to get the beds filled up, get the beds full, get the beds empty, and start the process over again. And sometimes during that process, they forget that labor can take quite a time. It's a process. It's a beautiful dance between mom and baby and hormones. An additional downside to vaginal exams is the increased risk that the water will break prematurely. If the water breaks, many providers will want to induce labor in order to prevent infection. If your bishop's score is low, then the chances of an induction being successful are not very high. You have a much greater chance of ending up with a failed induction and ending up with a C-section, which is not ideal in a lot of instances. If we can avoid it, then try to avoid it. But I can understand there are some pros to having an exam. For example, if you're having preterm labor, it's very important to get checked because you want to make sure that you are not actually progressing so they can stop that progression and can keep baby in for a bit longer, keep baby healthy. If you're having labor that's been going on for a very, very long time and you're not showing signs of progressing in your behavior and other things, then it's time to consider possibly having an exam to see if you're progressing. And it's not entirely uncommon if the baby's posterior, meaning clinic side up, that you have problems with the dilating and things like that. I hope to post some links in addition to my comments here today for your added reading and benefit. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful day.